The next group up that we're going to talk about is the Hound Group. You can probably guess some of these. The Hound Group hunts either by sight or by scent. The Greyhound, which really is mainly used for racing now in the U.S., and the Afghan Hound hunt by sight. Pretty much everybody else hunts by smell. The first one we're going to talk about is the Basset Hound, and you'll notice in the Hound Group that a lot of these dogs, especially the ones that hunt by scent, have really long droopy ears and a lot of loose kind of wrinkly skin around their face. And what that does is when they put their nose to the ground, that skin kind of comes up and over their head and their ears kind of drag the ground, and what happens is that pulls the scent up off the ground and directs it into their face and into their nose. So that's how they're actually able to smell better and track that way. They have a very excellent sense of smell. As you can probably guess, the Bassets do have those long dangly ears and that loose skin around their face. It is a short-legged dog that is heavier in bone than many other dog breeds for its size. They're very gentle, they're very devoted dogs that are good with kids, but they can be very, very stubborn and can be difficult to housebreak. I pet sat for a lady once who definitely had a Basset mixed with something. I think he was a Basset mixed with an English setter. I'm not 100% sure, but he had the coat pattern and the hair coat, like the texture of an English setter, but he had the body size and structure of a Basset Hound. And he was the cutest dog ever. His name was George. But he was awful. He was so stubborn. If he wasn't so sweet, I would not have liked him so much. You could tell him no 1,000 times and he'd still go back and do whatever you told him not to do. He actually chewed up one of my flip-flops at one point. Completely ate the whole thing. Beagles. Beagles are part of the Hound Group. They are noted particularly for their rabbit hunting ability, but they also really make great pets. They range in weight anywhere from 18 to 30 pounds. Typically, they're about 13 to 15 inches tall at the shoulder. Their colors range from almost like a bluish kind of color, which is like black and white hairs kind of mixed together with kind of a black tiger stripe through it. White, pure black, orange, which is kind of that reddish tannish color, or the hound type tri-coloring, which is what this beagle has going on in this picture. Bloodhounds. This is probably your best example for that wrinkly face skin and those long droopy ears. They are one of the most docile breeds. They are just super chill and relaxed, but they can track a scent that is several hours old. They are some of the best tracking dogs you will find. They're very affectionate, but they can be somewhat shy. So they're kind of like a one-person type of dog or a one-family type of dog. They're not aggressive, and they're very sensitive to correction. So they take criticism personally, I guess is the best way to say it. But they also are very sensitive to kindness, and they're really great pets for little kids. They're big dogs, but most of the big dogs you'll find, we call them gentle giants. It's almost like the bigger they are, the more relaxed and calm they can be. Greyhounds. So greyhounds were a favorite of Egyptian royalty. They were actually a symbol of royalty and nobility. They are really good at hunting all types of game, but really they're best known here in the U.S. for their speed, and they're used a lot for racing. They're not really recommended as a companion dog for kids, but once you have older kids in the house, they're actually known as Velcro dogs, and they will literally stick with you. They will follow you around the house, and they are loving and devoted to you for all time. Some of our friends have a greyhound, and she is just the coolest dog. She's so much fun to hang out with. Every now and then, they just let her out in the backyard, and she runs a lap as fast as she can. She comes back in. She's good for like a week. So once they come off the racing circuit, they don't necessarily need to run a whole lot, but there is that time when they're like, I gotta run, and I gotta run right now. The Afghan Hound, these to me kind of look like a long-haired greyhound almost, but they are very long, very silky hair. They're very regal looking dogs in my opinion. The American Foxhound, these guys almost look like a taller, bigger beagle to me. The Black and Tan Coonhound, these have the coloring of a Gordon Setter or a Doberman. but they are the part of the Hound Group. Very good at tracking by scent. Dachshunds. Dachshunds are actually considered a hound, believe it or not. I know they're like tiny, but they actually were originally developed for hunting. That's where those small tiny legs came from. They were built to hunt underground for the most part. And the Norwegian elk hound. I mean, look at that fur. These guys are really cool to me. I would love to actually meet one in person. I can honestly say I never have. But they have this thick, thick fur and very thick undercoat as well, built for cold weather, obviously, given their origin. But they are just really cool looking. They look like they'd be very fluffy and fun to cuddle with. The next video is going to be on terriers.